guys and gals, Nary here from Drakewing Gaming, and some of you me on Twitter, The Gaming Drag. Today I'm coming back at you with the Let's Play episode of No More Future. That's right, y'all, No More Future is back. We've got a lot more content to cover, so let's go ahead and jump right back into it, y'all. So I'll save the Patreon stuff at the end of the video. Anyway, alarm chain, you are up, and let's go. Oh, no, okay. Alright. Precisely right. I figured that on top of reassurance that Bradbury's about as smart as a rock, you might have wanted to ask some questions about him and his organization. Preferably someplace safe, where that rabid dog and his cronies won't show up unannounced. And no place is safer than right here at the heart of Pandora. Like I said, we're all friends here, for real. And speaking of friends... Hey guys, how you doing? Natalie beams at you from behind Mary's chair, her appearance as sudden and frightening as ever. It's enough to make even Mary jump out of her seat, as every hair on her body flares up at once. It'd be somewhat concerning to see her like that for sure, if it wasn't just so darn funny. Well, that was as close to a heart attack as I'm ever going to get. Way to go, Nats. Oh dear, I didn't scare you that bad, did I? Gosh, why does this always happen? You can't help but laugh at the quaint spectacle before you, even if it is a little mean-spirited. Maybe it's a little hypocritical, given how annoying Natalie's abrupt entrances have been the last few days, but you have to admit, it is pretty fun. It is pretty funny when she unwittingly does this to others. Anyway, I'm sorry for scaring you guys. I just wanted to say hi is all. That's alright, Nats. You barely scared me at all. Speak for yourself. That was at least 2 of my 9 lives gone. 9 lives? Is that a synthetic joke or something? The cat laughs off your innocent question, an enthused smile on her face. Of course not. I'm still very much human, I'll have you know. It's just a thing people used to joke about way back when. You wouldn't get it. Aha. You're not going to pretend you understood that, but it's probably not very important information either. Instead, you focus your attention onto the Labrador who just joined you, as is Mary soon afterward. Yeah, okay. So, what brings you here, Nats? I thought you were busy handling those files I sent you earlier. Actually, I just finished taking care of those. It was a piece of cake, as usual. And since I overheard someone say that Isaac had come to visit, I decided to come see you. Impressive. I honestly thought I'd given you a fair bit of homework this time around. You sure you're not skimping out on work or something? While Mary is likely messing around as usual, Natalie's slow to pick up on her sarcasm, also as usual. No, of course not. You know I always give it my all, no matter what you tell me to do. I swear, I just enjoy helping out as much as I can. Talk about something as clear as day. Even you can tell that Natalie's the very definition of dependable. While you've only known her a couple of days, she never shied away from her responsibilities as your handler, and always tried to address your problems as best she could. It's not hard to believe that she's just as invaluable an assistant to Mary as she has quickly become to you. All jokes aside, how come you're here, Nats? Do you also work on the weekends? Pretty much. Just can't seem to stay away from this place. I see. Should I be concerned about that? Of course not. I'm not being brainwashed or anything. Right, Mary? Mary can't help but laugh at her junior's question, as well as your own incredulity. And not as far as I can tell. No. Not as far as I can tell, no. She's just really excited to work here, same as all our colleagues. I'm sure we'd all be working well into Sunday, if only we could. But alas, the human body still needs its hefty share of rest. Wow. You love your job that much? Of course, I can't think of anything more exciting than working here, honestly. Assuming it can even be called work at all. After all, the money, fame, and recognition that come with this line of work are just the cherry on top, and I've never been a fan of cherries myself. It's about the motive, the purpose, the sweeping changes this project will bring to humanity, and the way we live our lives. That is what drives me and everyone else in my team. Because everyone deserves the same chance at life we gave you. Everyone deserves to live their life freely and without fear, and that goal alone is enough to bring us back to work, day after day. Although, you know I'm never going to say no to that sweet overtime pay. That lava lamp in my office didn't build itself, you know. While Mary's no stranger to jesting and messing around, you know her well enough by this point to tell that she spoke the truth just now. At least the way she sees it. Though you were already aware Mary and her team had a lot of faith in her vision, you didn't expect them to be so devoted to it. So inspired to pursue their goals, no matter how hard they must work to achieve them. By the way he spoke yesterday, Bradbury seemed to think all Pandora cares about are margins and sales, but Mary doesn't seem to care about those things at all. To her, everything's about synthetics and the positive impact they'll have on society. Quite the relief, to say the least. And just like that, you find yourself worrying about Bradbury's theories a whole lot less. Actually, that reminds me. Of what? The two ladies turned to look at you, a curious glint on their faces. We never did discuss that whole thing with Bradbury and the FBI, did we? We spent so long bantering we almost forgot about the topic altogether. Oh gosh, you guys were talking about that? Oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt such a delicate conversation. Don't worry, you didn't interrupt anything. I mean, we hardly even started. Plus, your presence here isn't unwelcome in the least. In fact, how about you join us? The more the merrier, isn't that right? Mary's offer is entirely out of left field, but you can't say you disagree with it in the least. After all, you don't see what you stand to lose from your handler simply joining the conversation. Meanwhile, the Labrador seems to ponder for a while on the feline's request, seemingly stumped by her even proposing it. You want me to stick around? But After giving it some more thought, the pensive look on the young canine's face disappears completely, replaced solely by excitement. You know what? Sure, I'm down to learn a thing or two. I felt so awful when I couldn't answer any of Isaac's questions yesterday. I'll definitely take you up on the opportunity for a refresher. She did? Oh god, I'm so sorry, Nats. Even though it wasn't your fault, you can't help but feel a little guilty nonetheless. But you already know that focusing on that feeling is as useless as it gets, and so you resolve to put it at the back of your mind for the time being. Instead, as Natalie sits down next to you in preparation of the lecture to come, you start pondering on what sort of questions you should ask the scientist while there's still time. In that case, I should probably start with this. Just what in the world does the FBI want from me? Beats me. Those guys are as secretive about their goals as they are stupid. But I assure you, them being a nuisance is nothing new. I mean, they have an entire department dedicated to breathing down Pandora's neck for crying out loud. For real? An entire department? You definitely hadn't heard of that before. Does the Bureau form specialized teams like that often, or is Pandora a special case? Imagine if they had an entire department dedicated solely to tracking synthetics like you. No, you definitely don't want to imagine that. Yep, they're persistent like that. Did I save? I think I saved. Okay. Double-checking our financial statements, vetting all our personnel, getting involved in things they shouldn't just because they can, and of course, you can guess who's the head of that department. You mean Bradbury, right? The mere thought sends shivers down your spine, as if you didn't already have enough reasons to be fearful of the guy. Is that why he seemed so interested in synthetics the other day? Why he seemed so interested in me? Not sure. I've been here for as long as Bradbury's been around, and he's never shown this much interest in something we developed, even the company in general. As long as he's been around? Sounds a little ambiguous, even by Mary's standards. Could that be intentional, you wonder? How long are we talking exactly? About 40 years, give or take. 40 years? Just how old are you exactly? Now, Isaac, you're not supposed to ask a lady these sorts of questions. Well, A wave of shame suddenly washes over your face as you realize just how far you've let your curiosity carry you. Indeed, you should definitely know better than to ask stuff like that. However, right as you're about to drop this little tangent entirely... She's 64, if you're really wondering. I think my save... It's from a little while back. I mean, there's not much I can do about that, y'all, so if this is repeated content, please forgive me. I'm trying to catch up to the latest content. Anyway... Natalie, I never said you could say that. The Labrador's brazeness seems to take the cat by surprise, and you'd be lying if you said you saw this twist coming either. You suppose you had a clue or two of that Mary was a little advanced in her years, but 64? That's way older than you thought she'd be. I've got to admit, I've never seen someone in their 60s look as youthful as you do. In spite of all the awkwardness she must be feeling right now, Mary replies to your remark with a timid smile. What can I say? The miracles of modern plastic surgery. It's not quite the same as choosing your own body from scratch, but with enough money and a competent doctor, it's almost a perfect substitute. She says that, but I don't believe her. I bet she's a sorceress who cast a spell of infinite youth on herself. Sorceress? Isn't that a little unscientific coming from a researcher like her? Ha! I suppose that'd explain our successes with synthetics as well, wouldn't it? But let's take a break with all the jokes. We were supposed to be talking about the FBI. Oh, right, sorry. The feline quietly smiles as she returns to your original topic of conversation, evidently quite pleased with the opportunity to change the subject. So yeah, like I said, those jerks are a well-known thorn in our side. They've been trying to get a hold of our synthetics ever since our very first transition with little success. Well, yeah, I mean, it only makes sense the FBI wouldn't be able to reach them given they're scattered all over the world. There you go. Which I suppose explains why Bradbury's targeting me in particular. The answer was fairly obvious, and yet you only just realized it. Quite embarrassing, to say the least. Then again, it could also be your fight with those thugs the other day that drew his attention, assuming Jasper was right and Bradbury knows for a fact that you were involved somehow. Right. Given you deliberately chose against the safer option, it's no wonder Bradbury's focusing all his efforts onto you. Whatever those efforts are actually for, Natalie appears clueless as to the St. Bernard's motives, and so does Mary, but you? You know what the St. Bernard wants from you quite well. He wished to recruit you, or so he claimed, to have you act as a double agent on his behalf, investigating Pandora in search of something. He definitely couldn't have chosen a poorer method of going on about it, that's for sure. Who in their right mind would assert his doubt in someone else's humanity before trying to convince them to work for him? Still, it might just be the conspiracy theories lurking within you, but you don't feel comfortable sharing this information with Mary yet. If there's a chance, however minuscule, that Pandora really is hiding something, then you should do all you can to hide your cards from the other players at the table. Even if you have no interest in playing this wicked game, and even if that means hiding things from your friends. Alright, I guess that explains why Bradbury's after me. But what about that other synthetic that was with me the other day? The other synthetic? Yeah, the other one. If I recall correctly, Bradbury called that one Harlon. What a creep that guy was, forever silent, his sharp gaze seemingly digging holes into your skull, like a guard dog trained to maul any trespassers on sight. Except for Bradbury and his posse, apparently. Mary once again appears a little unsure on how to approach your question, seemingly clueless as to where to begin. Like Natalie suggested, keeping Bradbury off our synthetics has been fairly easy so far, especially when you actually believe our excuses for keeping them out of his sight. But buying his lenience had a price. A price? Yeah, one day all of a sudden Bradbury showed up with a limited time offer. He'd let us continue our experiments on synthetics with minimal supervision for the time being in exchange for a favor on our behalf. A favor? Yep. He wanted a synthetic of his own, and he was very meticulous with the details. He wanted a cutting-edge chassis, add-ons fresh out of the oven, and even some custom mods like to the black box. It's like he was handing me a fucking grocery list. I swear, even art enthusiasts are less picky with their commissions. I had to think about it for a while, but eventually I felt like I had no choice but to accept. No. That's how Harlon was born? An intriguing origin story, if nothing else. Then again, you already had a feeling that Harlon was not just another one-of-the-mill synthetic. If Bradbury went so far as to making a deal with Mary to let him live again, he must have been a very important individual to the St. Bernard indeed. But just who in the world was he? You ask your friends for some clarifications, only to be met with a disappointed sigh of defeat. I really don't know. I only saw him, or what I assumed to be him, on the day of the actual transition. He was fairly old, maybe in his 40s or 50s, though with all the gunshot wounds and scars on his body, it was kind of difficult to say for certain. He showed up with his own medical entourage, keeping him alive by any means necessary until the procedure was complete. The guy himself was out cold for the whole thing, just one step away from the grave. Sounds like he had it even worse than you did. Not even you needed that sort of help on the days leading up to the procedure, and by the time your condition worsened, there was hardly anything anyone could do to help. Did he ever say anything, even post-transition? Nope, though he definitely can speak if you're wondering about that. I know that muzzle design looks a little ambiguous. We were still in our experimental phase back then. Ooh, that sounds cool. I never got to see what all the old synthetics used to look like, courtesy of me joining your team so late. You gotta show me some prototypes one of these days. As much as you can understand Natalie's enthusiasm for the topic, your mind's admittedly too stuck on Harlon and what he represents to partake in it. So, when did this happen? I'd say about 6 months ago. Alright, y'all, I'm gonna go ahead and pause it right there. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and check out our Patreon if you can. It always helps. Before I go, I'm gonna give a quick shout out to our lovely bronze tier patrons. Thank you all for all you do for the channel. We greatly appreciate your support. Thank you to our silver tier patron, Cade Silverman. Thank you for going a bit above and beyond. It's greatly appreciated. Anyway, if y'all want to get your names in the credits, get access to all of our not safe for work contents as little as $5. Alrighty, I love you all, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye-bye!